I'm very pleased to be here and to contribute the clean energy policy perspective to the discussion. Here we of course all know that climate change is a very big challenge, especially also for the energy sector. What we can see here is the primary energy demand and CO2 emissions in their development as projected in the scenarios by the International Energy Agency. And we can see on the red curve that in the current policy scenario, both energy demand and emissions is increasing rapidly. We can also see when looking at the blue curve that taking into account new policies, that is policies that are planned currently and that also include the climate pledges, that we still have increasing emissions and increasing energy demand. And then we compare this to the green line, to the so-called 450 scenario, which would be needed to reach a 2-degree target. And so we can see that there is still a huge gap. So if we want to reach a 2-degree world, we have to somehow fill this gap. Now looking at the different technologies that can help to fill this gap, we can see that both energy efficiency as well as renewable energies play a large role. And so it is clear that even in the new policy scenario, we are far from reaching the goal, and so we need a massive increase in policy efforts both for energy efficiency and for renewable energies. Now here we would like to discuss what does this have to do with quality infrastructure, and I would like to discuss this with one policy example, with minimum energy efficiency standards and energy labeling. What I show here is the example of the EU Eco-Design Directive and the EU Energy Label. The EU Eco-Design Directive specifies minimum energy efficiency standards that all products that are covered by the regulation have to meet in order to be placed on the EU market. The EU Energy Label is also mandatory, so all products covered by the regulation have to have the label on it and have to specify the energy consumption. I'm choosing these two policy instruments because they play a very big role in global energy efficiency policy. You can see here that the policies have increased a lot in the last years, and now more than 30% of global final energy consumption is covered by such regulations in the transport industry and building sector. And so how does quality infrastructure come in? I would like to illustrate this with this chart that represents what is needed to get to the final goal of having such regulations. So we start at the top. We want minimum energy efficiency standards and labels, so a legal framework that describes what performance levels need to be met in order for products to be placed on the market. For that, first of all, I need to specify the performance levels. So, for example, is it yearly energy consumptions, or in the case of a washing machine, energy consumption per cycle? So, in order to specify such performance levels, I need metrics. I need a translation of this performance indicator into consumption measurements. So, for example, if I take energy consumption, of course, I will not measure the energy consumption during a full year, and I need somehow metrics how to perform this testing results into a performance indicator. And then, of course, I need energy testing, procedure to measure the energy consumption of the products. So, for example, for the case of a refrigerator, I have to specify indoor temperature outside and inside. I have to specify if doors are open, how much time am I measuring, and so on. And then, last but not least, I have to define the products I want to cover in the regulation. So, what is clear is that here, quality infrastructure is needed really for the implementation of the regulation. Letting aside that I, of course, need also quality infrastructure then for market control and for compliance control. But I cannot even start to implement regulation without quality infrastructure. With that example, I would go back again to sort of the general case of quality infrastructure for clean energy policy. In general, quality infrastructure plays an important role for implementing and monitoring effective clean energy policies. Also, what Francisco said for renewable energies, if I want to put policy support for renewable energies, it is very important that the policy support is connected to requirements on the quality of the products. Also, one challenge that I see is the development of all of the infrastructure needs close alignment with the development of policies and marketing these markets in these areas. So, besides the technical challenge of implementing the quality infrastructure, it is a challenge that this needs to be aligned to the policy. So the more support I get, the more quality infrastructure I need, and vice versa. So this alignment is also a challenge. Also, the harmonization and alignment of the policies is important in the sense that if I increase policy efforts in energy efficiency and renewable energies, and if all different countries have different legislation, it is a problem for manufacturers and also for policymakers, because I have trade barriers and it's just a lot more complex if every country has their different standards and regulations. And then maybe as a general remark, so we have these increasing efforts if we want to reach the Paris challenge, if we want to meet the Paris challenge. It is important that we have a development of quality infrastructure and energy efficient and renewable energies. Thank you.